Hello! This video will review the Innovation Project rubrics and judging and is only intended to cover information as it relates to the 2020-2021 Replay Challenge and is specifically for Illinois teams, coaches, and judges to use as they prepare for tournaments. Before we jump into the rubrics themselves, let's quickly review the goal of the Innovation Project presentation and judging. Teams should be looking to tell the judges the problem they identified and researched, as well as explain how they chose and developed a solution to that problem. They should discuss how they shared their solution with others and how they improved it, and should share how their solution is of value to people, all while engaging their audience, which is the judges, through the presentation the team created. Additionally, since the core values are integrated into Innovation Project and Robot Design this year, teams should talk during their Innovation Project presentation about how they use the first core values when working on their innovation project. Okay, moving on to the rubrics themselves. The Identify section of the Innovation Project rubrics involves two parts: identifying the problem that the team chose to focus on for the season, and the amount of research the team performed to learn about this problem. Clearly defining the problem basically means that teams should clearly explain what the problem is and why it is a problem. And please note that teams will, generally speaking, do better to focus on one problem rather than trying to talk about multiple different problems the team might have learned about. However, when looking at problem identification, some teams forget that in order for the problem to be clear to the judges, the teams not only need to explain what the problem they chose is, but they need to satisfy any requirements of the challenge. For the replay season, page 8 of the engineering notebook explains that teams have been asked to identify a problem linked to people not being active enough. So judges will expect a team, as part of explaining their problem, to be clear as to how the problem they chose is connected to people not being active enough. This especially is important for teams. There are some problems which could be related to teams not being active enough, but could also be caused by another such issue. So again, you want to make sure you're tying it specifically to teams not being active enough. Also, remember, if a team has not identified a problem connected to the theme of the year, it could also affect whether the judges believe the team's solution is tied to the theme of the year, which is covered in the design section. And it could also affect the team's score in the communication section of the rubric. So as you see, a problem with how the team identified their problem could have a ripple effect on multiple sections of the rubric and cause the team not to do as well as they would like. The other part of the Identify section of the rubrics looks at the quantity and quality of the research about the problem that the team conducted. To do well, teams should be able to explain to judges how they conducted a wide variety of research, and why is what the rubric calls quality research. Again, the terms wide variety and quality are not defined, so it is up to the team to be able to convey to judges why what they did constitutes a wide variety of research and why it was quality research. One last thing to mention is that teams and judges should remember that part of doing a good job researching the problem would be researching and understanding any current solutions to the problem that already exist. And this would also be very helpful when the team goes on to the next part, which is thinking about an innovative solution, as they would want to be able to distinguish their solution from others that already exist. So moving on to that design section of the innovation project, this focuses on learning about different ideas the team considered when coming up with their innovative solution, and also the planning the team used when they're designing their innovative solution. Judges are also going to look at how many of the team members were involved in coming up with ideas and planning the solution. So remember that whenever a section of the rubric has multiple criteria, the judges must believe the team accomplished both criteria in order for the team to be marked at that particular level. So in this example, say only a portion of the team was involved in generating ideas for solutions or working on the planning of the solution. The team should then expect to receive lower marks in this section, even if the small number of team members involved did generate a lot of ideas or impress the judges with their planning. Similarly, if the whole team was involved, but the judges did not get the sense that the team generated a lot of ideas, then that too would most likely lead to the judges assigning them a lower score in this section. When looking at the planning the team did, remember first this season is asking teams to design a new piece of technology or improve an existing one, and it should solve the problem identified by the team. Now, this is important because this is somewhat new from past seasons. This is the first season I'm aware of that Versus specifically asked teams to design a new piece of technology or improve an existing one. In the past, teams had the option of choosing options that were not revolving around designing a piece of technology. So please make sure you're doing that, because teams will not be viewed as having done effective planning in the design section if their solution does not fit the requirements requested. But a little bit more on this, a couple of common questions we've had so far this season. The word technology does not mean that it has to be electrical or computerized. There's a lot of things that we would consider technology that are not. One example I can give right now would be when Velcro straps were introduced as an option on shoes back, I think, in the 1960s. That would have been considered either a new piece of technology or an improvement on an existing one. Also, technology need not be a physical thing. So a piece of software, like computer software or a phone app, that is also considered a piece of technology for our purposes. Okay, moving on to the Create section. The Create section of the Innovation Project Rubrics looks at how the team developed an innovative solution and also whether the team created a model or drawing of that solution that helps the judges understand it. Teams may wonder what is meant by development of a solution. What judges are looking for is the level to which the team has determined what is necessary for their solution to be able to become a reality. Is their solution something that could be created currently? If so, what does it need to be able to be made? Or does it require technological advances, and if so, what are those advances? What costs would be associated with creating the solution, and so on. Judges are not expecting teams to actually create their solution and are not giving preference to teams that create a more or less complex solution. Also, it is equally valid for a solution to be something that could be created today, or if it would require additional technological advances before it could exist. What judges really want to understand is the depth to which the team has learned what will be involved in making their solution. Also remember, this section has two parts: the level of development as well as the innovative or original nature of the solution. And of course, remember that a solution that improves upon an existing idea in a new and useful way is just as innovative as a completely new idea that no one has ever heard or thought of before. When looking at this section of the rubric, that judges the team's model or drawing, judges are looking to see the level of detail of the drawing or model compared to the complexity of the device. Now, we are not looking for this to be a beautiful work of art. It's okay if the skills of the people who are doing the drawing are not that high. But what we're looking for is, does the model drawing show all the elements that will be used? And especially, does the drawing or model help make the solution more understandable to the audience? Finally, remember, as I said before, teams are not expected to actually make it. They are not expected to have working prototypes. Teams with a detailed drawing or model would score just as highly in this section as a team with a functioning prototype. But again, they are looking specifically for some sort of drawing or model this season. Okay, the iterate section of the rubric. So some people might look at the iterate section right now and wonder why it includes a line on how the team shared their solution, rather than placing this line in the next section of the rubrics that we're going to talk about, which is the communicate section. While the wording of this section may not be as clear as it could be, the text next to the word iterate helps provide some context. For the iterate section of the Innovation Project rubrics, judges are looking to learn that teams shared their ideas, collected feedback back from those they shared with, and then worked to make improvements on their idea based on the feedback they received. So understanding that this is the intent of the iterate section will help you realize what judges are looking for. Since the purpose of sharing the solution is to get feedback, then meaningful sharing of the solution should be with groups that can provide feedback, which could include people who are or might be affected by the problem identified, or it could include professionals or experts who might have knowledge related to either the problem or the solution the team developed, or it could include other people the team found that are able to provide feedback that helps the team as they consider if and how they should improve their solution. Therefore, minimal sharing should be interpreted to mean the team did not do much sharing with individuals or groups that were able to provide feedback, and conversely, a lot of sharing means the team will have reached out to multiple groups or individuals that were able to provide helpful feedback to the team when they considered ways to improve their solution. Regarding how much evidence the team provides regarding improvements of their solution, remember there's a wide range of options for what constitutes evidence, and one type of evidence is not inherently better than another. What matters is the team's ability to convey the information to judges. Finally, the Communicate section of the rubric looks at how engaging the team's presentation was and whether they were able to convey to the judges what kind of impact their solution could have. While judges are looking for presentations that are engaging, this can be achieved in a large number of ways, and you should remember that a presentation need not be unique or especially imaginative to still be engaging. It just means that it drew the audience in and made the audience interested. Having the solution and impact be clear means that the team clearly conveyed to the judges enough detail about their solution that the judges understood it and how it connects to the problem they researched, and that the team shared information with judges about how their solution would be helpful to those who used it. Now that we have reviewed all the sections of the Innovation Project rubric, here are some more general reminders. First, all team members are required to participate in the Innovation Project presentation, just as it is expected that all team members will have participated in the Innovation Project itself. As always, remember that it does not mean that all team members have to participate equally, just that all team members have to make a contribution. That can be different, just as each team member is different. Also, please remember that core values judging is integrated into innovative project and robot design judging. I know I said this before, but since it's new this season, I'm trying to stress it. Judges are expecting teams to talk about how they incorporated the first core values into their innovation project during the innovation project presentation and during the question and answer session. Judges will score teams' rubrics based on the information provided during the remote tournament. That means judges will not consider information they may have already known prior to the tournament, and will not consider information the team may provide, such as files or links to pages that the judge would need to look at outside the presentation time or the question and answer session. Finally, remember that each team is judged on their own merits. Judges will score teams on the rubric based on whether they believe the team met the criteria listed on the rubric, and not based on how the team did in comparison with any other team. Yes, how teams did compared to other teams will factor into awards, but the rubric itself, when you receive the rubric, is based on how the judges thought you did in compared only to yourself. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please do contact me at fll-judgeadvisor@firstillinoisrobotics.org. Have a great season. Thanks again for listening.